Hello and welcome everyone to another wonderful installment of the Hidden Variables podcast. So I'm Deb Shakti, your host, and today we have another wonderful guest, one of the most interesting people I know. You're going to love this one because of the things she does. Her name is Wendy Gallant, and Wendy has spent most of her life as a sailor, racing and cruising all over the world since the age of 17. In 2017, she had her first experience of seeing unidentified craft, and her experiences have continually multiplied over the years to very close contact. During this time, she was introduced to Mindsight, and it became a passion. Mindsight is a way of seeing without your eyes. Wendy has been trained by teachers from Russia, Romania, Canada, Australia, and the United States on different methods of this. At present, she teaches the blind for free. Wendy says she has been amazed and blessed when someone is opened and sees her face for the very first time after being blind for many years. She loves teaching many different things, like extended remote viewing, seeing blindfolded, and also a great passion is animal communication. She likes to teach online and in workshops. So, having said that, we'll dig right in with Wendy. Wendy, welcome to the show, and thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Debs. It's an honor to be here. Yeah, we've known each other for a while, but I just love being here with you.
Oh, thank you. I just think you are one of the most fascinating people on the planet. I have watched your videos time and time again that are just mind-boggling. And I've actually done the exercises with you during the videos just to, just to extend my own capabilities. And it works. It is so cool. Mm-hmm. So, start where you want to start, but you can just tell your story. This is an open-ended flowing conversation. And I just want people to know about you because you're fantastic. So go ahead.
Thank you so much. My sailing was the most incredible thing for me. I started when I was 17, was introduced to racing and realized, oh my gosh, I love this so much. Mm-hmm. I came from a farm, didn't even realize this. So water became my thing, sailing became my thing, racing became my thing. I was on race boats with we raced down in Newport, the J24 Nationals with an all-Canadian girl crew. It was amazing. I've done the Mackinac, I've done ocean racing. My husband and I cruised all through the Caribbean on a sailboat, and it became my passion. And but 2017, when I had my first craft experience, that was when things changed so much, but everything kind of came together. And even why I spent so much time on the water, because it was my passion. Mm-hmm. Also, looking at the stars. My husband and I would lay on deck and look at the stars for hours because we were anchored in areas that absolutely no light pollution whatsoever, so you can imagine.
Yeah.
But also, my husband and I were both very enthralled, with the animal kingdom, diving, swimming. My husband was passionate in snorkeling and showing people how to dive and that. And it was a pretty incredible life, really. And we spent a lot of time in Belize, sailing there when there was hardly any other boats there. That was incredible because other places we went, the fish were like this. We get to Belize where there's been nobody else there, and the angels are like this, and the dolphins come right up and swim around your boat. And it was the first time I saw wild manatees.
Oh yes.
Wild. They hadn't had any people around them, and I thought of them as they are in Florida.
Yeah.
They were acting just like dolphins.
Yeah.
With thought they were dolphin at first, but a herd, or I don't know what you call them.
I don't
But
know if you call them a pod or not, but they are
yeah, yeah.
high vibrational beings. I've
Oh,
had manatee experiences in the wild as well, and
oh,
nothing
yeah.
to compare.
Oh, it was just incredible. So after then when I had the craft experience, then after that I started getting it was craft.
And
I
you're saying spacecraft.
spacecraft. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it was my first huge. I saw a huge triangle right in front of me, and I didn't understand any of it at the time. And there was like a green haze all the way around it, and I didn't understand at the time, but I kind of understand that they were coming through different vibrations or whatever. I just it was it was it was massive, and I'm sitting on my beach here going, oh, well, and that was my first time. And after that, it became the contact I was getting was phenomenal. I'm just my husband coming in. Like my husband passed away. I had him coming in. We were very close. He was directing me. He was warning me. I was seeing him as in full living color. It was incredible. And it was nice to have that, and I was pre-warned when my other family members were going to pass. I was pre-warned each time.
Wow.
Like almost.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question? I mean, we've been friends for quite a while, but I never have asked you this question. Did the UFO and ET contact stuff start happening before he passed or after he passed?
After he passed.
Wow. Okay.
Immediately after he passed.
Okay. So that says a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were very, very, very close. We spent 24/7 together, and even when we were working, we were in constant contact, like we were very close. And so like it was, I don't know how to explain it, but I could say best friend and everything, but like we were just connected unbelievably. So when he was gone, I have to say, I actually think I'm just kind of coming around these days, but I went into a huge loss, but of
course,
I went into this zone, and that's when everything started happening, and I was seeing everything. And I don't know whether I know you've told me before that I've had these abilities all along. I just kind of remembering them now.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking I'm getting massive amounts of help to bring these forward, because I don't know why I'm tearing up, but they're the ones that showed me the connection to all, showed me the connection to trees, to, like I'm feeling the energy of everything.
You really truly are in the oneness energy of most people that I know. You can communicate with it, you feel it, you understand it.
Through all of the experiences I had, I think I told you about this one, is when I was just on a hike. These normally happen when I'm on a hike, and they say, go sit down.
Yeah.
So I go sit down, and I'll never forget this. I'm sitting there on this kind of a precarious spot, and they meditate, okay? And so I had a habit of, I always had the habit of my head down. I don't know why. I always had this habit. And I felt craft there. And the next thing I knew, I felt something go like this.
Oh.
And then I don't remember anything after that. Until all of a sudden I was like, oh, okay. I got up. And when I got up, I walked up, and that's when I could feel immensely the energy to absolutely everything. And I'm like, wow, like it was just, and it's been that way ever since. It's incredible. Yeah.
I love it. Those unity consciousness moments are the ones that just tear it all open, don't they? They're just like, and once that veil has been torn, you might go through periods where you kind of forget that you know all this stuff or that you feel all this stuff, but it's always there. It doesn't close back up.
Yeah.
It's like your memories start flooding back. And, I've told you, we all have these abilities. You're very highly masterful in yours, but, during your earlier part of your life, you were more focused on the physical and the joy of being a human and sailing and doing all these wonderful things. But that also speaks to something that I think is important when we're talking about contact, for instance, or manifesting any kind of experience that we desire or that would be beneficial to us, is that they most often manifest when we are doing something that makes us feel joyful or grateful or loving, right? We're in that vibrational state. These things are always around us and always within us, but we don't connect to them until we're a vibrational match. So it's interesting that you went through your whole life having these adventures and being with your best friend, your soul partner, and all that. And then he leaves, and suddenly now, the rest of the universe opens up to you. And that's amazing.
It's phenomenal. What I've noticed, and and actually this is for a lot of people out there, what I've noticed since that happening, and I think I told you that I feel like my right side of my brain's like way out here.
Yes.
It feels that way all the time.
Yes.
I find if I'm in, and this is for my training that I teach people also, if I'm in my left brain, I'm going around and around and around, this
compresses. I know it recedes. Yeah.
It recedes, and the energy I feel all the time recedes to minimal. I can tell that immediately, and so I shut this down, and boom, it comes right back out again. So that's in any kind of training that we're trying to do with this. It's the same thing, yeah. And it's just so vivid for me. I can just be walking, think of something, and boom, and like it happens so quickly. So, and in my training that I do for seeing, it's the same thing.
Wouldn't you say that then it's our ability to remain conscious of those things that really gives us it increases the power and enhances our capabilities in these gifts? Like I said, we all have them, but if you're not conscious of them or you're not focusing consciously on them, then it's kind of like, well, she doesn't need us right now, so, And in my teaching too, I do the same thing. I call it training the puppy. It's like you have to train this active puppy here over on the left side to do its tasks, but then get tired and go to sleep, and it's great, while we can do our stuff over here. And I'm so glad you bring it up, because people are often, I just say, you just let your mind get in the way, and that's all there is to it.
That is all there is to it. You helped me a lot in meditation and stuff. That's why I went to your retreat that time, and it was mind-blowing for me. And you did. I remember I told you I came back, and I'm like hearing, they're talking to me, like actually talking to me. It wasn't intuition or anything, it was talking. And so that's when it just, that's why I'm going back.
Love it.
But the teaching you gave me in the meditation and how to be in the moment and everything has just meant so much to me. It can change my whole feeling for the day. If I just sit down and meditate and connect, and your whole day opens up to pleasure and just to being one and stuff. And I used to wake up in my left brain. What do I need to do?
Yes.
I try not to do that anymore.
That's the practice I try to give with everyone, no matter what we're working on. That practice, that morning, that start your day that way. Start it in gratitude and joy and love, and what can I enjoy today, or what can I do to help others feel joy today? And that really just sets the tone or the frequency of the day. And even if you do get hit by, sideswiped by something you weren't expecting that is low vibrational, you can handle it better because you know how to respond. You're still in that energy, right?
you don't react. Like if you're in your left brain,
Oh,
something will
yeah.
come up and you may react. And your
Yes.
right brain, you can stop and think and look
Solve.
at it in a positive
Yeah.
way and
You can
solve it in a
think of
very
solutions.
calm way. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're very good at that too. You're such a good feeler. And, you might think it's a curse, but I love this about you. You are very, very sensitive. And I also think that's why you're so good at some of the things that these things that you're so interested in now. I want to talk a little bit about some of this stuff. Like, of course, the Mindsight, or you call it intuitive seeing, don't you? Or
I call it, and there's many names to it, but in my training, a lot of people say it's Mindsight or seeing blindfolded or infovision. There's so many names to it.
yeah.
I switched to learning intuitive sight because I've found that so much more opens up.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so much more. Like
That's
you
the
can,
door that opens it up.
yeah, exactly. So that's over my training. I started experiencing this stuff. I started um, uh, extended remote viewing, like just like bang, I would just go there. And
Yes.
it's not the controlled one; it's the extended one where
Yes.
your whole consciousness goes there.
Yes.
And also talking to animals. Like I actually rewrote my introduction on my site, showing like telling people like you can look inside people's bodies, you can heal,
Exactly. Yeah.
do all this stuff, and that's what my site's all about now, is adding it all. Yes, the blindfold part is of it, but I try to explain to all my clients that there's so much more comes with it. So,
Yeah.
and which one do you want to train towards? Because it all comes in. So,
Yeah. If you train in one, it just seems to open the door to all of them, doesn't it? If they're open at that
if
time.
you're, and I found, well, what you're really interested in too,
Yes.
it
Yes.
it shows up too.
Whatever your jam is, that's the way you're going to go. And I love that. I mean, I think it's incredible because people they just have this rigid set of templates about what like meditation is supposed to be like, what hypnosis is supposed to be like, what channeling is supposed to be like, and it's not. It's a free form. It's a free form way of living, just like we live as humans. We're all unique, and we all use our tools in different ways. But when you got interested in this, but you have expanded it in such a way. And I love some of the things you've been doing. You might want to describe the listeners, what it is and what some of the experiences have been for you and your students.
Okay. A lot of my students are mostly interested in seeing blindfold. They find that that's what they're all focused on. Mm-hmm. And that's the main, we are having a seminar or a workshop in June that's basically seeing blindfold. It's going to be in Ben Miller for a week there.
Cool. Neat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and it's the location is absolutely incredible. It's only 15 minutes away from me, and if anybody wants to see that, they can check it out on my site. It's gorgeous. It's right by a huge river, like a massive river, not just a little stream. It's a massive river, and it's an old mill, so all the water's running right through, and so it's out in the country too. So it's down home kind of stuff. So
the videos on your Facebook page, and the energy of the place is incredible. We've had some private talks about that energy too, but yeah.
And the people too, like it's country. The people are down home. They're very easygoing, and that's why we went there, because of the energy.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so we've been working on that. So it's on June 9th to the 14th, and so that's happening.
And we'll have your website and all of that stuff at the end of this, so people can get in touch with you if they're interested.
Sounds good. But other than that, I have been having experiences. I personally went and started volunteering at the stable.
Oh, yeah.
And oh my gosh, because of my energy, the owner of the stable noticed right away that this little filly, who has hardly any training, she's a year old, they're starting to incorporate her training. But when she was around me, she just calmed right down.
Oh, that's
and
so
she
cool.
would look at me. you know. And I'm finding her personality is incredible. And but what I'm finding, which is fascinating for me, depending on my energy at the time when I go out, she mirrors my energy.
Oh,
Yeah. And
interesting.
also, I learned that with this owner, they train their horses per energy. You raise your energy, they go forward. You lower your energy, they stop.
Oh, wow. Now
That's
that's
fascinating.
really unique.
I
I
know,
love
isn't it
that.
fascinating? And I'll go, oh, and she'll stop and just look at me, you know.
The
Or
way
if
to
you
the
want,
instructions.
yeah, and if you move your energy to the right, she moves to the right. You move your energy to the left, she moves to the left. So I'm finding like obviously I was supposed to go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm learning too how to move my energy, how to keep my energy before I go out there. And
Mhm.
they were blown away. We just had a little foal born,
Oh,
and
man.
she's a one day old, and she's afraid, like she's what's going on in this world. And this little girl, I put my hand out, and this little girl came right up to me. The owner was like, "Whoa," you know. So it's really, and so I'm going there. I'm learning so much from her, and I've had experiences with animal communication, like actual
Yes.
verbal and pictures.
Mhm.
So I'm waiting. Her and I are connecting, but I'm waiting to see where this goes with her.
I
So
have a feeling that stream is going to open wide open. I mean, I've
I
had that happen myself. Well, I'm an animal communicator as well, but it's when the line is completely open, it's just it's like you're the same being almost, and it's so wonderful. But it takes, well, it's just like when I'm working with clients, you have to build a rapport first, right? Before they trust enough to do that. They're not going to show you their whole self. But
I
I
think
can't wait to see what happens with this filly. That's going to be so cool.
she's so sweet. I just posted a picture of her. She's just so sweet. The one that blew my mind wide open about this is I was just out with a friend and I was standing outside this farm and they had alpacas. And I don't know how many people have heard this story because it was mind blowing for me. I was standing at the fence and there was these alpacas running around and this big one was chasing the little one. Okay, so they're going round and round and round and round like this. I'm standing outside the fence watching this, and in my mind, I say, "Well, that's not fair." And the little alpaca stopped, looked at me, and I heard, "Well, do something about it, Ben."
Yeah, help me out.
And so it's standing there looking directly at me. I can see those big black
Wow.
eyes. And I'm like in shock. That was my very first experience of, and I'm like, in English even.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was just my first. And so I've fallen in love with it ever since that.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, there's just so much opportunity when you do open that channel with animals. I mean, we can do it with anything, with plants, with rocks, with anything. But most people don't, they're just not as sensitive so that they can actually get the real meat of the message. They might feel an impression, but you literally are, you're literally hearing them and feeling them, which I think is important to note here for everybody who comes on here who thinks this is just about UFOs, this channel. It's definitely not. It's about consciousness. And what we're finding out is all types of consciousness. This is the level that we really live on. Here in the third dimensional human earth life, we live more on a surface, physical kind of materialistic wavelength. And we use these physical senses, but that is not the way the universe or the cosmos lives. And so I think teaching animal communication, for one thing, is a huge step in the right direction of being able to communicate with each other, right? If we can build that kind of coherence, we lift ourselves up several levels in the food chain, and then we can really communicate with these higher level beings who some of us are connected to already and communicating with, but
Like
to
you,
be able to
wow.
perceive it, right, they're here, but to be able to perceive it and use that information and have a discourse with these beings. It's super important, but we have to be able to do it with each other.
Yes, and I think what you're teaching is amazing, maintaining that connection or teaching them how to make that connection and then how to maintain that connection. It,
Okay.
like I say, it's changed my life. It really has.
Aw.
One of the mind, and I think I told you this one too, one of the mind blowing, other than the alpaca, was the first time out hiking again to 300-year-old tree. And
Oh,
I felt the energy off of this tree, and I would see when I was near it. I think it's a her again. It feels that way. But when I was near it, every time I'm near it, I see these pictures of covered wagons coming in. I can
yeah.
every time I see this.
Yeah, she's showing you what she's experienced.
And sometimes she has this big hollow in her, and I'll go and I'll lean in this hollow and just stay with her. Anyway, and I would try to connect with her. And there was this one time in particular, mind blowing again. I came out and I rubbed my hands down and I told her she was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kissed her and said, I love you. And as I said that, I just saw masses of love hearts go through my mind.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
I was like, that's not me.
Is
That's coming from her.
returning the love.
I was just incredible. Yeah, it was incredible. And then I was walking through, and I must have been in a very high vibration because I was walking through after that, and they were cutting down trees, and I was
Oh.
looking at it, and I was going, oh my gosh. And then I heard this little voice. I actually saw gnomes, and then
Mm-hmm.
I heard this little voice said, make them stop. And
Oh man.
oh my gosh. So yeah, just to have that connection, Deb. And you're teaching it. It's just incredible.
So are you. I think it's wonderful. I think there are not enough of us teaching this, and we all teach it in our own way. But I'm the same way. I go many different places on my hikes and my runs, and now that I've started running again, oh my
Oh
gosh, I'm so
good,
excited.
yay.
But there's always at least one tree or several along the way that I have to stop, and I just call it tree merging. You know, people call me a tree hugger, and it's true. I will literally put my arms around the tree, put my face, my heart into the tree, and just kind of breathe with it, because usually by then I'm breathing pretty hard. And I feel the energy connection, and it's just like this. It is a merging. And I'm like you. They'll show me visions of what's happened there in the past, or things that they've experienced, and if I'm having a bad day, it's almost like it just gets pulled out of me and recycled or something. I don't know. It's really cool. But I always send love, and I always feel love back. But I know people must think I'm that insane woman who's, in the middle of a run, just goes over and hugs this tree. It's like,
More people should be doing it.
yeah. Well, number one, it's a great way to ground, and
Oh yeah.
all of us need to ground more. We're all just completely off our rockers from all of the
Oh yes.
EMFs that we're absorbing from all of our technology, and we're not outdoors enough, most of us. I know you are, and I am, but it just helps. So, but I love that you do that, because I do it too, and I love that you've had that experience where it's downloading. It's just literally showing you
Yes. I was
what
just
happened around it. It's
yeah,
such a
yeah.
beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is, and I actually was going through my mind, going, I can't believe everything that you saw in your lifetime, and then I started seeing
It's
these pictures.
incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah.
I have one that I call grandmother. Well, we have two trees out in front of our front lawn that are 150 to 200 years old. They're huge, ancient. And I do that with them too. But this one grandmother tree out in this one trail that I run on a lot, it has shown me, because it faces a lake where they used to have, like, back like at the turn of the century, big picnic, community picnics with a band and swimming and the funny swimming outfits. I mean, literally just like stuff I didn't even know. And then I'd go back to the history museum here and go look at pictures, and it would
Mhm.
be just like that. It's so cool. But I hadn't ever seen them before that. So I love it. And I just think all of these things that you're describing, your extended remote viewing, I'm that way. I've always been able to remote view, but I also studied the professional, control remote viewing from, basically from the SRI protocols. And I used to teach that a lot, but then I'm like, but we naturally have that ability. So here's the other way we can do it too. And you can go anywhere and do anything. You have to allow yourself.
Yeah. Through my training all these years, I find that I spontaneously will remote view, depending on who I'm with at the time, or who I'm thinking of, or whatever. And it's just and sometimes in huge amounts of detail that I can confirm when I talk to the person afterwards.
Yeah.
And so that's all part of the training that I do, because it opens up everything. So that's what I'm trying to do. I want to teach extent, and I've had professional people come to me who took the control, and they've heard me talk of that. I've done that. I spontaneous do the extended, and they're asking me how to do it, and they wanted me to teach them how to do it.
To let go, that's how you do it.
Exactly.
Right? Turn off your left brain.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes this is weird, I was actually told at one time not to do the control, because this is one of our trainers, and she told me, because I see things in pictures, like I actually see the whole scene in pictures, that I shouldn't do the control, because it'll teach
narrows it too much.
Narrows it right down.
Yeah. It's too much. It's like seeing raw data instead of, if you remember those exercises, I mean, you're drawing and sometimes they look like something, sometimes they don't. But when you're getting the whole, and it's not even just a visual for me, it's like the comprehensive, it's the feelings, it's I can smell things, I can, all of that. So, and we tend to label things as humans. So I often get carried away, and I'm like, so is it extended or intuitive remote viewing? Is it out of body experience?
People have asked me all of that. And it's all, to me, it's all the same thing.
It is. It's consciousness.
Exactly.
Perceiving, it's consciousness perceiving. It's in its own way and in its best way. But we like to label things. And I think when we label things, we limit them. Yes. So, right? So I love that you're teaching it this way, because I think there's so much more there. Yeah. It's not limited.
I want more experiences of. A lot of times I'm so surprised. I once took a remote viewing course with Kat online.
Yeah.
And I just did it for fun, And the last picture they showed me, they wanted us to remote view. They gave us the number.
Right.
So I'm there trying to do that, and all of a sudden I get slammed with this picture in my head. And it was a picture of grass, a tree, and a bluebird. And so I'm thinking, okay, that's what it is. So then they pulled out the picture, and it's a picture of a man's face. And I'm like, so then I get a ding on my phone, and it's a friend who sent me a picture of a bluebird on their front yard.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's exactly what I got slammed with. That vision at that very moment, and it just happened to come in at the very same time. So sometimes you just don't know.
Yeah.
Because I was connected with that person just before the call. Mm-hmm. So that was very, very interesting, and Kat thought it was very interesting too. Because I saw her picture. Because I'm saying, I didn't see what they're showing.
That's happened to me when I'm doing groups. Like I will, I'll just pick a person at random. And, we'll take pictures of every person, and then I shuffle them, put them in the shoebox or whatever, and we assign a random number from a random number generator, and I say, okay, I'm just going to pull the number. Here's your target. Now, remote view, draw what you see, what you get, what you feel. And one time I did that, and I got a merry-go-round and cotton candy, like the smells, like funnel cakes and the music and all that, like a fair, like a country fair, and hot and humid, and I was sweaty, and all of this stuff, and yet I felt like I was male. And so I just wrote down these impressions, that I drew some quick scribbles, because it was blind for me too. I always try to keep it blind for me as well. And and we get through, and everybody's talking about who this is, and here's the drawing of the person, and some of them got the guy spot on.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at it, and I'm like, okay, well, I got nothing. I got a country fair with cotton candy and funnel cake and everything, and it was it was one of my students who we made the target, and he said, oh my gosh, we're going to the fair tonight. And all I can think about is that cotton candy and the funnel cakes. So he was visualizing, and I was picking up on that instead of his face.
Yeah.
So weird. And I went in his body because I could feel.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Sweaty and dirt, the dust. So I love that, and I would love to see how you teach it, because I have a feeling it's all about the feeling. It's all about the experiencing on all the levels, isn't it?
And that heart coherence of for the animal communication, it's all about heart coherence. It's all about making the connection. And you can't just walk in there. You have to be careful of what your energy is.
Animals are so sensitive and perceptive. You can't.
I had no idea. Yeah, I had no idea. I know, you can't. I went out there one time upset.
Mm-hmm.
Hippie was upset.
Mm-hmm.
Like she would not do anything for me. She was upset and told me so in so many words. And after I went home, it was like she was mirroring my energy at the time, because I was upset when I went out there. So I have to really.
And she didn't want to be in that energy.
She didn't want to, and she was like wanting to go away. And she was like, and she actually bit me.
Oh my goodness!
She actually did, not hard, but she did. I have a little mini tattoo there.
Giving you a warning.
And she did. The next time, so I wasn't going to go out again, and then I thought, no, I have to go out. So I went out, and my energy was totally different, and she came straight up to me. So totally different. She just, yeah. So I can see the difference in my energy mirrors her energy. So it's fascinating. I had no idea when I started this that I was going to be working with so much energy, but it's fascinating.
All energy, isn't it, Wendy? It's all energy, and we're all the same energy. That's why I always, use that phrase in Lakesh, I'm another you. It's really true.
It really is. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, though, because I've been so enthralled by you. You take so much time, and you teach the blind for free. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that just makes my heart explode with love for you.
Well, I just when I took my first course in this, and when I sat down before I even had one lesson, I said to the person I was with, why are the blind not being taught this?
Yeah.
Why is this not happening? The main reason over time is that there's so much non-belief. And if there's non-belief, it won't happen.
You can't go anywhere. Yeah. It just self-reinforces.
So I did have my very first experience, and I actually reposted the video of her just recently because it was mind-blowing. I was contacted by her friends saying that our good friend fell, hit her head, and she damaged, she couldn't see afterwards. She damaged the part of her brain.
Yeah.
And so she had been 4 years blind. Now, I was a little apprehensive because normally the older you are, the harder it is. And also your belief systems are there.
Sure.
So anyway, I met her, and she super open. We connected right away. We had so much in common and that. And so I trained her, and she'd been blind for 4 years.
Wow.
Very first session, she... the part that blew my mind, and well, I've had this experience, but she just kind of blossomed. my first thing, I held up she was blind and she was wearing a blindfold. So I picked up this piece of paper that was fluorescent pink, and I said, "What color do you see?" And she says, "Pink." And I said, "Well, how did you see that?" And she said, "I saw pink flowers on a tree." And I'm like, "Oh, that's amazing."
Yeah.
So then we went around and we did a couple other things. And then I held another same pink color. And I said, "What color is this?" And she said, "Pink." And I said, "How did you see that?" And she said, "I heard it."
Yes.
I'm like, wow, you know. So then she stopped me and she started describing my face. She said, "Your hair." She told me the color of my hair. She told me where it was cut. She told me the color of my eyes, you know, and she told me it was a funny part. She was going to describe my face, and then she stopped herself, and then she said, "Well, your face." And I said, "Chubby?" And she goes, "Yes." And I said, "You know, I don't care. I don't care what you say." You know? And that was incredible. But then the next session, she started describing my apartment behind her.
Oh, wow.
Now, I heard from her girlfriends, and she was very reserved after the first one, even though that happened. She was very reserved on camera. I heard from her girlfriends, and she called them right away. Went, "I saw her face."
Oh, that's so awesome.
I know. And then I've heard, and then I have actually a video on my YouTube site. I asked her. I went to train her, I think the fourth time, and she stopped me and she said, "I feel so blessed." She said, "You've opened something that I never ever thought I would have again." And she said, "I have to tell you, I went out for lunch. A girlfriend came up to me and she said, I saw her. I said to her, 'You've lost weight.'" And the girlfriend looked at her and went, "How did you know?" And she said, "Well, you're wearing a blue dress too." And the girlfriend said, "Yes, I am." And she said, "That was the most incredible thing. I'm getting that back." And yeah, so it was very emotional for me. Yeah, and she moved to South Africa, and when she moved there, she didn't have the support she did have in Costa Rica, and so we haven't. Apparently she's doing really well there. I'd love to just keep training her. I would just have that experience.
I just started. My goodness.
I would train her like 1 o'clock in the morning because of the time difference.
Yeah.
And we would be up like all night chatting and stuff. She was a great gal, but that was amazing. So after that, um, anybody that's blind, come and see me. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I highly encourage everybody, if you know a blind person, get them in touch with Wendy. It's such an amazing modality, and it's just starting to open up. You know, it's not a new technology. I think it's an ancient technology that we're rediscovering, and it's so powerful. And talk about heart opening. My gosh.
I'm training Mark right now. He actually organized bands all over the world.
Oh,
very interesting young guy. He had detached retinas in both eyes as a young guy. Have no idea why or how or whatever.
Some sort of trauma, maybe.
Yeah. So he didn't know what his prognosis was, and just out of the blue, he contacted me. And he said he felt my energy off my videos and wanted to contact me right away. And he is incredible also. He is into the same stuff as me, which blew my mind. And we have these long conversations about everything. Mm-hmm. And I have one video of him where he was absolutely seeing everything. I had to stop and not look at it, because at one point I thought, is he reading my mind? Like, is he reading what I'm showing? So I stopped looking at it and put it up. Yeah. He was seeing all these playing cards. He was seeing multiple of them on the screen. Yeah. And he isn't totally open yet, so I'm going to keep training him. But yeah.
That's something you want to share on the screen here? Is that
I didn't have, but they're all on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
They're all there, his progression. And with this, some days, depending on what your left brain is doing, because sometimes I'll call him and he's middle of a work thing and he doesn't do so well. And I try to tell him, like, don't be upset. Like, this is just the way life is.
human.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, anybody can go on my YouTube site and see that, and I post them all on my Facebook site too. So.
Right. The videos, you guys, are so amazing. I mean, even just the videos of you when you were first learning and practicing are crazy amazing, you know. And I was telling Wendy ahead of the podcast that when I first became acquainted with her work, I was watching the videos and doing them at home, you know, just while I was watching, and just it was just working, you know. It's just so exciting. But you make it fun too. You make it very fun. And I think it's important to have that playful attitude.
Yes, that's all part of it. Getting into the right brain, having fun. I think my profile picture on my site now, I changed it. It says it all, because that was the first day I saw the pyramid of cups, and that picture doesn't show it, but I had the gun. I had to find the pyramid of cups blindfolded, and then I shot the top cup. The first thing I hit is the top cup, and then that picture is when I got all the rest.
The whole thing, yeah.
And that you can see it in my face. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. For anybody who hasn't seen this picture, it does say it all. It's a profile picture on Facebook, but she has the mask, the blindfold on. She's got a Nerf gun and a big one. Room that's just, you know, used to be a pyramid of blue cups, and there's other stuff, but she's literally, you can tell, she's just shot this pyramid of blue cups down.
Yeah, the cups are all
surprised herself. Yeah,
the cups are all in midair and stuff, and I'm still holding this massive.
You're like, whoa! It's so cool.
Yeah, it was so fun, and we carried that on, and I was shooting down orange ones and stuff, and then we were doing the maze of noodles and stuff. So, but yeah, putting fun into it is so much fun. Yeah, it's good. So fun.
Do you ever go to like other people's events and teach this stuff, or is that on your?
No, I haven't done that. That's actually something I'm really wanting to think about, because I think COVID kind of, you know, brought us into ourselves, as they did for everybody, and so all of our training and everything was on Skype or whatever, and so we haven't come out. Haven't come out of the. Everybody seems to want everything online now.
Yeah. It's funny though, this year especially, this is the first time since all that happened, and I was teaching mostly and working with clients mostly virtually for several years before COVID. I was kind of just moved that way, and because most of my following is international, it's just really hard, you know.
Yes. Yeah,
travel and all that. So, but nevertheless, you know, for the last 7-8 years, most of my work has been virtual. For some reason this year now, people are like, do you ever do in-person stuff anymore? And, you know, how can we make this work? And so it does take, you know, it takes more time, more money, more logistics and everything, especially if they're far away. But we can make it happen. But I think what's so much fun is to go to these conferences or retreats or, you know, consciousness events or whatever, and teach what I know. And I just can see you doing that in the near future. I really do. I think people would just love it. It's so much fun. There's so much energy, and there's so much excitement when they actually can do it. You know, it's empowering.
That's the most incredible thing, is when, well, the two things happen. It's exciting, but also I've had, and to me, every time it happened to me, I was like, whoa, you know. But I've had other people say it feels totally natural. It's not a big deal, you know.
And it is.
Yeah. It's like, it's no big deal, you know. And we're all like, oh, wow, did you know what you just did? And it feels totally natural. So there's two sides to it, you know. Yeah. But the excitement, bringing the excitement up, is what makes everything else happen. And so you've got to keep the heart coherence, excitement, fun. You have to have
level vibrational state. Yeah.
And that happens. Yeah.
I love you because you so get it. I mean, it's just that's really how I live my life. If things start to go sour, I know I've let my vibrational state come down, and I have to figure out a way to get it back up. And as soon as I do, things shift, you know, and it's literally, you know, the rudder to my little sailboat that I've found is that being consciously self-aware.
Yes,
of
and
where your focus is.
you taught me that, and you taught me about, like I said, about the meditation and that, and it just makes such a difference. It can turn that switch right away.
Well,
So
maybe I reminded you, but I see you as way up here in your mastery. So, well, so what's next for you, Wendy? What are you thinking about? What are you wanting
um,
to do?
yeah, I'm thinking of changing up what I'm going to try to teach many things from my site now.
Good.
Most people want it online. I'll
Hmm.
see how that goes. I actually, I haven't brought this up before. Um, Out at the stable that I
Hmm.
volunteer at, they bring kids in
Yeah.
to be with the horses, and they have a farmhouse there that they teach not meditation, they teach yoga and that there.
Hmm.
And in my mind, and actually, a good friend of mine mentioned it to me, you should be doing something out there,
Yeah.
out in
I
the fresh air, outside, kids, a whole thing, because kids get it so fast. You could have so many games going on out there that
oh,
incorporated even the
fun.
horses. So that's one that's on the back of my mind. And the owner of the stable is very open to that because, of course, she's teaching the horses through energy. So
Right?
she
So open to
yeah,
that. And
yeah, so she'd be so open to that. So that's
thing.
sitting in the back of my mind right now. I'd love to try to do that. So.
So I think I'm getting a big yes right in front of my mind, right in front of my third eye. Yes, yes.
Oh, as soon as I went up there, I'm getting visions of it, and it just would, and and the yoga and everything that's going on out there. Yeah, and they have, I'm not sure, I think it's 50 acres of bush, and they're going to and when she said she's going to put paths through that, and she wants to have little fairy boxes and gnome boxes and everything, I'm like, this girl is on my wavelength. So.
We have a place like that where I used to lead my CE5s actually here near Kansas City. It's about 45 minutes away, but it's an animal sanctuary with a lot of uh, walking trails and excuse me, fairy houses and dragon lairs and goodness,
That's what she wants to do. And
I
she
hope you'll
said,
do it. It's
yeah,
magic.
yeah. And she said, it's not going to be your wide path type of thing. It's going to be, like you're walking through a bush and they're going to have all this stuff. They're just going to clear a tiny little path so you don't get lost, but it's not going to be tear down all the trees or anything.
No, no.
No, so that's,
Wonderful experience.
and it's really interesting because one of my experiences I had that was huge for me. I was out walking, and all of a sudden, I had this being appear in I I saw him. I had this being appear, and it just got stronger and stronger and stronger. And as I'm hiking, all of a sudden, I get this message again: sit and
Oh,
meditate. And as I went into this clearing, a message came in saying, "Don't sit in the mushrooms." And I'm like, there was
oh,
mushrooms everywhere, so I can
oh,
understand
goodness.
where that came from. So anyway, I sat down, and all of a sudden, in came Palladian,
Oh,
a,
man.
a male Palladian. Uh, how do I say it? He merged in, and
Hmm.
on the other side was gray, but not more like a white type gray,
Yeah, yeah.
and bigger than I've ever seen before. And he was bent over, and he had his finger pointing at me like this. Like he was bent over, like kneel down, not like kneel down, and that's the last thing I remember is that.
Oh, oh my gosh.
Then I don't remember anything again. And then later on, I kind of came to and I went, oh, I got it. This is funny. First thing into my left brain, oh, I got to go get some ink for my printer. And up I get, and I go to my car. So I'm driving to the store, and all of a sudden I get a memory of being on craft. I had
Oh.
to pull over and absorb that. And then, but the reason I brought that up is it's on that actual happened in the same property near where this a horse farm is. Like it's right on the same same fence line right there.
The vortex, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
that's gonna be interesting.
So
Yeah.
cool. It's funny. I was just going to say we need to do a regression and find out what happened when
Oh,
you.
I have many things I really would like to talk to you about, but I've had
Do 'em.
most of them I don't remember. But when I come back, something has happened to me. Like I'm
Right.
more open, or I'm more,
You know you've been upgraded or balanced or something. I'm the same way.
And
Yeah.
then there's one in particular I have no idea, and this is the one I wouldn't mind a regression on, is because I was camping alone, but on a friend's property. And as I'm in my tent, I fall asleep. As I'm falling asleep, I hear something,
Hmm.
but I don't remember anything else. I just felt something.
Hmm.
The next morning, I woke up and I was exhausted. Even though I just woke up, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And I walked out and I felt like I was still out of body. It really
Yeah.
did. And I sat down because it was right on the lake. I sat down in this chair that faced the lake, and I could see and feel 360. I could
Oh
feel
yeah. You still
ev-
had the
everything around me.
whole experience.
I
Yeah.
could see the roots. I could see the energy in the roots of the trees and everything. And I just sat there. I was
Love.
I was like I was in a trance still. I was like, whoa. And then I was so exhausted. I don't know how long I sat there for, and I was so exhausted. I finally went back to my tent and I slept all day. And so, yeah. So that one, I'm not sure where I was or what I did. So,
Well, maybe we can even just do like an express regress. The little 90-minute
oh,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we just that's just to see one thing, instead of the whole 4.5, 5 hour thing where you see a lot of different things.
Oh, wow,
We
wow.
can go
Yeah.
specific, go in and come back, and cherry pick it. That would be awesome.
Well, I have no idea what that
What
was.
that was.
Oh, it was incredible. I slept for 12 hours, and then after the 12 hours, I was back to normal. But before that, it was incredible. Like just, but I was like, nothing left. I was just sitting in the chair. I have no idea. I just got up and I had nothing left. So I don't know where I was or what I did that night. So,
I'm gonna remember this and ask you about it later because that's really cool. I want to find out too. I'm so curious. I love hearing everybody's experiences. So
I'm mostly excited about mine. They're all just incredible, and I'm just always wow every
I
time something
know.
happens. So yeah.
It's so funny that it's just been 7 years or less that you've been going through all this, but you were having the same type of energetic feeling from your physical experiences before that time. And I think that's why it was such an easy crossover for you once your husband left this plane. And although that's a very hard thing, I know that a lot of people don't open up to their gifts, or their gifts don't re-emerge until they've had like a very hard, challenging, or traumatic experience, right? And so, but it's awesome that he comes through for you. I was present when he came through for you.
Yes, he did. Yes, I remember that. It was at
Yeah.
your retreat. Yeah, that would blow my mind. Wow. And I went to that not even knowing what you got. I had so much going on. It was like I just knew I had to get there, and I went, and I didn't really even look at I knew we were
The
skywatching,
description, yeah.
but I didn't go right into
Love it.
detail. I wanted to go for the meditation and the sky watches, and that's what I went for. And then we had that seance, and oh my gosh. And it
That
was,
was so profound when what happened with you.
yeah.
I still can't get over it. So
Yeah, and it was funny because you saw incredible things, absolutely incredible things. It was interesting that I saw things and you saw things, but they were kind of merged together. What was all
yeah.
going on? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
incredible.
and it's almost like we were triangulated with what was happening because you were across the building from me,
Yes,
and
yes,
and there were all these, just like 40 people, all
yes.
having their experiences, and some I wasn't keyed into at all, and but the things that were really important to me, you were experiencing too from that other point of perspective. So I think that was really cool, and it made me feel closer to you anyway. But
I have to say the people that went to that retreat, especially the two on both sides of me, were
Mhm.
so good because they knew I was a mess because of everything that was happening. And they just took care of me, which
It's
was
so
really,
sweet.
they were great.
We have
Great.
the best people come into our retreats, I think. It's just, I love it every year. And I'm glad that you get to come this year because I'm super excited. In fact, there's more. We just added, well,
Oh,
we did, but we're fleshing out some of the things that we haven't talked about publicly
oh,
yet
okay,
to
cool.
do, that I'm going to do and that we're going to do collectively. And I can't wait. I'm just super high about all of it. So. Well, my dear, thank you so much. I mean, I can't believe we blasted through almost an hour and a half, and
Hour and a half. Oh
yeah,
my
it's just
gosh.
so fun. I mean, this is how it is every time we're together. It's just like,
I know it does. It does.
but
Yeah. It does.
I would like for you to let people know how they can get in touch with you, Wendy, and then and then we'll also put that in writing at the end of the video too. So, and in the description.
Yeah, sure. They can contact me. Like I say, my YouTube channel is Learning Intuitive Site. I think you're going to put a link in.
Yes.
My Facebook site is the same. I
Mhm.
did have TikTok for a little while. I'm not really on there so much anymore. Um, and anyone can contact me through email, and it's on both, and it's wgallant60@gmail.com. So if
Perfect.
anybody wants to find out any information, and I'm just trying to do all these things, and most people want them remotely, but I'm thinking about having some sessions. I'm hoping in person, and I'm hoping to do some kids too. So I'm looking forward to that.
I am so looking forward to all of it. I just love watching you grow and expand and help other people the way you are. You guys, no matter what Wendy offers, just pick one. I think it doesn't really matter which one because one opens up all the other doors, as we were saying earlier. Pick the one that seems the most exciting to you and just try it out. You
There's
will be so amazed at what happens with you when you do this stuff.
I just like to mention there's two different kind of blindfold sites.
Hmm.
One is very unique. It's when a window opens up in your mask, and
Yes.
then you can see absolutely everything.
Hmm.
Another one is when your psychic senses open up, and
Hmm.
you see not through a window, but you can see almost everything. So that slowly incorporates, and that's when everything opens up at that point.
Wow.
And so we teach both because for blind people or whatever, either way is advantageous to them. So yeah.
Would you, just before we go, would you say that this type of work, especially for the blind people, is that rewiring their neural net? I
They
mean,
grow new neurons in the brain.
yeah.
They,
Okay.
they really do, and that's why the training, like we continue the training so that
It
they keep growing.
continues to reinforce that rewiring. Yeah.
And with kids, increases their IQ. Yeah, it does. And one instance, my friend Leonie does mostly kids, and she had this one. She contacted me right away, and she had this little boy who couldn't go to school
Oh.
because he was autistic and he couldn't read.
Hmm.
So she taught him, opened him with the blindfold. We call it, they open, activate is what we call it.
Huh?
And he went home, and his mother contacted Leonie and said, my little boy, he can read with the blindfold on, and he can't read with the blindfold off.
Wow.
So that says a lot on its own.
And it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, that says a lot on its own.
Wow.
And I know a lot of people say once they open the activate, their eyesight's better. They don't need glasses. They don't, and these are readers, but they don't need glasses or anything because even if they open partially, it opens and it helps your actual sight
Well,
too.
the physical has to follow the
Yes.
energetic. The
Yes.
energy is the template for the
Yes.
physical.
Yes. So
Amazing.
it is, it's fascinating, and new things get shown to us all the time. But that little boy who can read with the mask on, but can't with the mask off.
That says volume to me.
That's just wow. Yeah. So.
Woo! Well, my dear, thank you so much. You know, I love you with all my heart and soul, and I hope everybody gets in touch with you and takes some lessons from you, because this stuff works and it is so helpful for your whole life. I don't care if you do it on a lark, it still helps, you know, in ways that you wouldn't believe. So get in touch with Wendy, and Wendy, thank you so much for being with us today and being one of those amazing hidden variables that makes this beautiful world go round. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you,
and I can't wait to see what you do next. In the meantime, everybody have a wonderful day, and in Lakesh, I'm another you.